If you think there's a ground shift afoot in our political system and that the Congress is badly broken, well, this story is not going to change your mind at all. On May 31st, one day after the conviction of Donald J. Trump, a letter was sent on behalf of 8 U.S. Republican senators to their Democratic colleagues vowing to stonewall future legislation because they fervently believe that the Biden administration has somehow weaponized the DOJ to affect the outcome of the Manhattan court trial of Donald J. Trump. Well, the senators who courageously signed this knee-jerk reaction to the Trump verdict just earlier this week, it reads like a who's who of famously flawed legislators. They are as follows: Mike Lee, Tommy Tuberville, Marsha Blackburn, Roger Marshall, J.D. Vance, Eric Schmidt, Rick Scott, and Marco Rubio. And this is what they signed. The White House has made a mockery of the rule of law and fundamentally altered our politics in un-American ways. As a Senate Republican conference, we are unwilling to aid and abet this White House in its project to tear this country apart. To that end, we will not, 1, allow any increase to non-security related funding for this administration or any appropriations bill which funds partisan lawfare. 2, vote to confirm this administration's political and judicial appointees. And 3, allow expedited consideration and passage of Democratic legislation or authorities that are not directly relevant to the safety of the American people. Sincerely. This bastion of brave flies in the senatorial ointment, well, they cloak themselves in righteous indignation. But let's take a look at what these 8 senators might have to show for their aptitude, their voting record, and, ultimately, their political motivations to collectively upend the legislative process. One by one, we know Senator Mike Lee is well known for his election conspiracy theories and his embarrassing devotion to all things Trump and all he stands for. Tommy Tuberville is considered by many to be one of the least astute members of the Senate.
You know, our government wasn't set up for one group to have all 3 branches of government. It wasn't set up that way. Or 3 branches, you know, the House, the Senate, and the executive.
Marsha Blackburn, sometimes called the crazy aunt of the Senate, well, she's squandered precious Senate floor time dithering over many trifles such as this.
The fact is that President Biden and Vice President Harris have had a terrible, horrible, no good, very bad year.
Senators Roger Marshall and Eric Schmidt, well, they're both locked in a dead heat, vying to win the lowest approval rating in the Senate chamber. Good luck. Senators J.D. Vance and Marco Rubio, they're both bridesmaids in waiting, hoping to be picked by Trump to be the vice president at the inaugural ball. But Rubio may well get his heart broken if Trump's past sentiments are any indication.
I think he's a highly overrated person.
And as for Rick Scott, well, he was the first senator in line to appear at Trump's trial, speaking for the muted defendant and ultimately currying favor with the ex-president and now convicted felon. Together, these senatorial superstars of the right threaten to further slow a sluggish process that has seen much legislation, important legislation, grind to a crawl. And as they unabashedly threaten another kind of government legislative shutdown, all in loyal supplication to convicted felon and GOP nominee Donald Trump, we're all left to ask ourselves, who are they really serving besides themselves?